But that's part of the rivalry that I think exists between local news guys and you both in the national. I mean, you're national media, darlings.
National media.
Are you really? Are you national golf media for sure? I am.
Yeah.
I just left shooting a promo with the Jumbo Shrimp. Y'all know who the Jumbo Shrimp are? Would that even ring a bell for someone out of Duval County? So that's our minor league baseball team. Just got AAA status, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what is your frame of mind if you're a minor league baseball player? Minor league baseball players are going to play baseball. It's got to be a double-edged sword, you'd think. Like, hey, cool, I get a job and I get paid, but there's no chance, most likely, I'm going to actually achieve my dream.
Nowhere to go.
Well, they could get Phil to maybe be a reliever.
No, he throws righty, doesn't he? Doesn't he do everything else right-handed?
Throws right. Tops out at 68.
Is that right?
Yeah. That was our flashback Friday, last Friday. Kevin Van Valkenburg came on, talked about his tryout with the
Toledo Mudhens.
Oh my God.
He topped out at 68. He thought he was going to be he could play minor league baseball.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I missed that flashback. I don't know. Forgive me.
No,
you gotta go back. It would have given you a lot of jumbo shrimp content. Jacksonville, a big shrimp place. I'm interested about the jumbo shrimp name.
Huge. It used to be the Jacksonville Suns, and of course Jacksonville's a big sun place. But the jumbo shrimp come from Mayport. So Mayport is our shrimping boat community, and huge, big time. Go right off 10 miles and catch a bunch of shrimp. So yeah, pretty big shrimp.
Are they in better standing than the Jaguars?
The Jaguars are just so disappointing.
Yeah.
The diehard fans, and I'm one of them, it's just so disappointing that it's nice to have just a little elixir of sport. So we've got the minor league hockey too, the Icemen. And I got booed out of the arena the other night, and it's literally
you got booed.
I got booed out. So I was going down to announce some promotion. We were giving away. It was before this. It was Saturday night before the Super Bowl, and we were giving away a television to someone in the crowd. And they come to me live. It was me and my co-anchor, and I opened up with Duval, which is a Jaguar chant, right? But it's also pertinent to Duval County and Jacksonville. I thought that was going to get really well received. In fact, It wasn't. It was not.
Why?
Because the puckheads in town aren't necessarily from Jacksonville. People, honestly, so I start getting tweets about, hey, dude, we don't Duval in here. You keep that loser stuff across the street.
The Icemen.
I think that name needs to change. I was thinking the Icemen could pivot to the drawbridge operators as a homage to the PGA Tour HQ.
I like the drawbridge.
That guy comes out, come off the ice.
That's a really good.
The Zamboni comes out on the drawbridge.
Absolutely. Oh, now we're talking.
I don't know ways you could mess around with that. It feels like only a year ago they're parading Urban through the Players Championship. He's doing the car wash and everything. And it's just like, who had a bigger fall, he or Phil, a year ago? Think about that. He's the king of ceremonies at the Players Championship in 2021.
Right.
And now he's had, a handful of indiscretions and then kind of out of a job. Phil, similar from May 2021 to now.
Whose bank account has more money in it?
Maybe
Urban's. I think. I thought, he did lose his steakhouse. A proper introduction. We've got Brennan Porath, Andy Johnson, hosts of my favorite top 2 favorite podcast about golf, the Shotgun Start. But Brennan, you're at Golf Digest, right? And Andy, an awesome golf all-round but architecture in the fried egg.
Breaking news, actually. Local news can break this. I'm actually now full-time at the fried egg as of Monday.
Oh,
I left
really?
Golf Digest on Friday. You have the scoop. I don't think I've
You've got the
publicly
scoop,
disclosed
yeah.
it anywhere. I'm
Congratulations.
not big on announcements or,
That's awesome.
this is
Congratulations.
why I'm going here, doing this, or personal news. But, just for the sake of accuracy for your local newscast, of which, I know is primary. I just want to add that correction. So
It is. Because every bit of this is going right on my morning show.
Yeah, make sure.
I mean, I told Brent I'm going to put every bit of this on a YouTube feed, so everybody.
Right.
But that's more for your people than my. I mean, my people are a good, hearty, Northeastern Florida generic audience of wanting all their news, weather, and sports content. I know if I put your two name in the tag, it'll be some golf diehards. So for that, I'm a little thirsty for the click.
I understand. Andy's actually run afoul of your operation more than I have.
I know that.
He had
Well, I do
fellow
want to say
contra with a prior colleague or a prior employee there. So
here at my station too.
yeah, I think it was your station, right?
And I get the rivalry. I mean,
She's not national, I think. But.
I can't even remember what the run-in was, but I think I was jesting. I was jesting.
You were surely
was jesting, and it went right over the nice woman's head.
Not happy with you.
But I get it. Like you guys, the rivalry exists because and I use you guys, and I know that's offensive, but the national guys, you get the great media credential. They've taken for many of the locals. Now I do get the M1, but for many of the locals, and I'm held in such high regard. They've got these terrible credentials, terrible parking passes. They've got to watch these dudes saunter in from Lord knows where all over the country and take a dump all over their sweet, beautiful town. I mean, just gorgeous. But then on the other hand, us local folks are busy asking questions to Jay Monahan or some other random player about, hey, did you enjoy those tacos the other day?
Sure.
It's questions geared towards the local thing. I get why there could be some heated moments.
Yeah, some rivalry for sure.
I envy you guys and the questions that you get to ask, because I would love to just talk about what's the taco place there. Taco Lou. I'd love to find out, dig in and see, what's your favorite taco?
Hey, is that
what I'm more.
I don't want to get you in trouble with local businesses, but I feel like everybody's heard about Taco Lou, national, local, and otherwise. Seems like a potential, tourist overhyped, not the tourist trap thing.
I'm not going to go. I obviously can't go that far, but I will tell you this: the parking is impossible, and so and then like waiting, you wait, and this is because they have a good business, right? But you wait for 45 minutes, and at the end of the day, what you're waiting on. I mean, it's tacos, right? 45 minutes is an understatement. But so anyway, you can find a ton of different spots, but right. But it's kind of built up its name because of attaching itself to the big horse of the players.
Hey, I'm also interested in this town that has just risen out of nothing, of obscurity, Nocatee. What's going on down there? I drove in last year and I came up from the south and I just saw this like town being created and I was so intrigued.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. I might get my families and my names mixed up, but the folks who owned the Pablo Creek land owned all that land as well and sold it to basically every single developer, across Northeast Florida to build this mega attempt at a town.
It feels like we're putting you on the spot here, trying to turn you against your people. The national guys trying to turn the local guys.
Well, no, I have a rivalry against. I have a rivalry against Nocatee.
We're trying to put you in a tough spot. I know. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm super interested in the idea of just building a town.
You can do that.
I think that's super interesting.
They do that all over the place down here. And I will say I have a rivalry against Nocatee, and I'll tell them that to their face. I'm in Julington Creek. We've been around since the mid-90s. You guys are just coming up. They put together this swim team that tries to rival my son's swim team. And it's just like, guys, give yourself a minute, thrive some, but don't just show up. And then they claim Ponte Vedra too. So now a lot of them are like, yeah, we're from Ponte Vedra, but really you're from west of the Intracoastal Waterway with all the rest of us. So are you? Anyway, there is a rivalry there, Andy, and I'm proud, and I'll say it on television. I'll say it right here. But at the same time, I've got to go do business there every once in a while, and I don't want to, get my tires slashed. It's all golf carts there too. So if you get your tires slashed, you're getting those little easy go numbers. Do y'all want
to? Everybody's got to have a golf cart in addition to a car. Is that just the way it works?
You don't have to, but it's a status symbol. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, but it does matter if you have a.
Is there golf cart financing like a car, or are people making golf cart payments on a monthly basis?
I'm sure they are. Just like boat financing, because they make golf carts expensive as boats. So yeah, absolutely.
Man, isn't there enough ways to keep up with the Joneses? Now there's a great golf cart race to the bottom with golf carts now, in addition to our car brands, our clothes brands, our boat brands, apparently. Maybe.
Golf carts. And they've got their own golf cart lane, their own golf cart traffic lights. So you've got to adhere.
Really?
You've got to adhere to your rules of the road, but you also need to take a peek into
that
the
sounds
periphery.
like a mess.
It's not good. It's not great.
That sounds like a mess.
That's why you just avoid it.
Do they have seatbelts in these golf carts? Like,
Some
what do you do with kids?
Some do, but for the most part, you're throwing caution to the wind. It's a throwback. I mean, that's a bit of a throwback with kids because you're letting them hang off the back. It's kind of like in the early 90s when you wouldn't buckle. My parents, would they put me in seatbelts? I don't know, but
like the wagon, you sit just in between with no buckles. You're just sitting in the front seat. You might be 3, 4. Nowadays, these kids got to be strapped into these bubbles,
Going 25 miles. Golf carts will go 25, 30 miles an hour, You got to get them license plates and they're street legal.
So does the local media actively dislike the national media down there, especially during Players Week? Does that become more acute? Because as a Clevelander, like, I completely understand the sensitivity to people coming in, trying to talk noise about your locale, or people who don't maybe not be familiar with all the benefits and beauty. And, just casting aspersions without much sort of
like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. And the Golf Hall of Fame here.
So is there?
Which is equivalent. It all goes back. I think it all really goes back to our Super Bowl, right? And there is still a lot of bitterness about the way it was. It was written about, in fact, this past Super Bowl in the local paper, one of the writers did a whole thing on headlines that national writers had written about Jacksonville. And they were terrible. I think Sal Powell was the only one that had something nice to say, but it was with a but attached to it. Great town, nice people, but it's a hellhole. It is essentially, and I may be attaching it to the wrong guy, but I'm pretty sure it was Sal Paolantonio. But and people still, talk smack about that guy. And then the major talk. Can we get into that?
Sure.
Oh,
do you mind?
Love to talk about that.
Are you guys sensitive to that? People bagging on that?
Well, so if you had asked me 3 years ago, I had an argument with a producer of mine because he kept putting in my scripts that I'm going to read on TV, the fifth major. The fifth major coming up this week. It's the fifth major. And I'm like, Greg, it isn't. We can't say that. That's stupid. And he,
do you think he got corrupted by the tour?
Well, he's a guy he's from St. Louis. No, I think he came to town and saw it as.
I hate Andy for Bellary.
Right. Well, I haven't corrupted him with your podcast yet, but I'm going to after this airs. He'll want to take a part of it. So he had this outsider's view of just everybody calls it the fifth major, call it the fifth major. And I didn't want to do it. But now here I am 3 years later. I'm like, well, so we don't have to do a whole lengthy diatribe, but there are things that could make it a major, but I can see that. And I can also see there are things that definitely don't.
I actually think like you could call it the fifth major in that there is no other thing that's the fifth major. Does that make sense? Like you're not calling it a major. You're not calling it one of the four majors. Getting a little sort of pedantic here, but like the fifth major might be an accurate title for it, as long as you're not saying it's also a major. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it is bigger than all the other kind of whatever comes after it, the FedEx, this, that, and the other, the Courier Cup, the, TPC Initech things, the Swamp Pass Invitational, as Andy calls it, the Honda Classic, things like that. it is bigger and better now, which might make it the 5th major, as if like this is a title that only applies to one thing.
Right.
Doesn't mean it's major. I think you could go with the 5th major, quite honestly.
Can you go?
I think
ahead,
the only real competition for major status, I would feel like, is the Genesis at Riviera, where with Tiger as the host, that has risen over the last years, but nowhere else gets 48 of the top 50 players in the world. You know, like that's majors hope to get that. It's got, you know, a really strong field. I think there's things they could do that could elevate it a little bit more even. But you know, at the same token, I think a lot of it is just, I think what happens is the tour can't get out of their own way with some of the marketing of it and just let it breathe and let it become, because like, if you think about the Masters, it wasn't a major from the day one, you know, it evolved into the biggest tournament in golf, like, and it evolved over 50 years into the biggest tournament in golf, 60 years. And I think that's the thing, is that, you know, with today's day and age, nobody's patient enough to just let something become what it wants to be. Like naturally it will get to where it should be, but you know, the marketing and the you know, just the age that we live in today, people aren't patient enough to just let things happen, it seems like
the hazard water you can buy. I mean,
do you have any?
No, but there's a reporter out there. I'm going to make her buy me some for my live shots tomorrow to introduce
free
this.
shipping, $49.99.
I mean, do you think they have it at the tour stop store, or like on the grounds? I mean, they've got to have a couple of bottles of hazard.
I would think so.
A couple of orbs.
Seems like a missed opportunity.
You know, they were selling. We had a source on the ground said they were selling T-shirts about the Chainsmokers concert like years after, still in the Sawgrass clubhouse.
Yeah.
And like he went back, he tweeted about it or something. We amplified that in a way, in a very small corner of the world. And by the time he got off the course, the shirts have been removed from the pro shop.
That's because you all have power.
Y'all have juice. Probably, you know, tournament water somewhere out there. And if there's not, maybe you could find your own homemade tournament water, or create your own tournament water. Go out there with a little cup, right?
Yeah. You guys have told the story on the Shotgun Start of, like, imagine the Masters. I mean, you think about putting yourself on the pedestal of something like the Masters. Imagine I think it was a Masters fact of the day, or maybe it was just a story that's always been around, but the dude who tried to take the sand literally had to change his life, right? The guy from Oklahoma who tried to take the sand from Augusta, and he lost his tractor business. He, his wife left him. He lost every dime. He's penniless, and he can never go back to Georgia. Like, that is total major juice. Can you get Ray's Creek water, served to you? No, you can't be selling hazard water in a golf ball. You just can't. That's preposterous.
Waterford Crystal, though. I mean, you get a little crystal, right? It's like baptismal water. You put it next. Some people keep the little jar of baptismal water, holy water, and then you put it next to the hazard water. I don't understand the tournament used part of it, as opposed to the other 361 days or whatever. Like, what's the tournament used part that comes in?
Have you seen the bald eagles? Like, for the alligators, one thing, but there are the world famous bald eagles on number 3 that you gotta. I can't believe they don't show cutaways of it, because it's massive nest and there's like 3 bald eagles, absolutely gorgeous. So my
bald eagles in person are like the most majestic animals in the world.
So big.
Have you had a close encounter, Andy? What do you mean in person? Okay, you had a close
when they fly within, like, if you can see them in your periphery, the bald eagles are just incredible.
Yeah.
Like, they're so huge. I got a little nervous that it was going to come attack me. If a bald eagle attacked me, I wouldn't be able to do anything.
You'd have no recourse. And anything you did would be held against you. You attack back, and you're a criminal. You're
You're a little guy. You could just scoop him up and take him off. He's a little guy. He doesn't have a lot of heft. You got to be worried about that.
Brennan, you hit it, but you make a great point, both of you. It takes time, and if there was more patience, it'll play itself out. The other majors, I mean, for God's sake, British Open's been around since 60, and then you got the late 1800s for US. I mean, you can't just pop up on the scene in the 70s, in my opinion, and then all of a sudden start stomping your foot and say, I'm a major. But I think truly, if it just got out of its own way with some of the heavy-handed promotions, I guess, I think it's on its way, and I don't know about retroactively giving people a major for it, though. That's something I have a problem with. But when it gets to that path one day.
Ironically, the tour took control of what was considered a major, and they have stripped all of that away and made it a part of their playoffs.
Western Open.
The Western, as a Chicagoan, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the Western Open was considered a major.
Right.
The tour has control of it, and they made it just a rinky-dink part of their playoffs. They took all the soul away from it, and now the Western Open, a Chicago event, is being played in Maryland, in Brendan's backyard, and Denver and Philadelphia,
Delaware,
and every once in a while it comes back to Chicago. And they took that was an event with the rich history and could have been a major. Could still be considered a major, but isn't.
Now, I mean, to Andy's point, though, this thing, like, as much as it may not seem possible now, these aren't static, right? I mean, the U.S. Amateur was considered a major, right? Jack Nicklaus at one point was said to have whatever he had, 20 majors, because he had U.S. Amateurs, and then it became 18. These things aren't static. I think, like you said, I was always told people at the PGA Tour aren't positioning it as that. It's like an outside thing. It's like NBC or whoever networks. Is this a fifth major? But whether they position that or not, the over marketing, bringing every single resource that the tour seems to have to bear on this week does create a little bit of a backlash and have the opposite effect, I think, of what they're looking at, because they have a great championship that they should be secure in, right? And I think maybe they're past that sort of over marketing. I don't know, but and more secure in it. Of course, the purse is now $20 million. It's just an incomprehensible number, like 5 years ago, right? But no, it's not static. So who knows? Maybe if they let it be or keep chugging along, it in the players' minds, maybe the money is what matters eventually. Maybe 10 years down the line, if this purse is 3x or 50% greater than a quote unquote major, maybe it starts to become that. I don't think money can buy it, but the players may think that way.
I think a big thing with it also is having it at TPC Sawgrass every year it gets more and more important, because outside of Augusta, TPC Sawgrass for the common golf fan is the most recognizable closing stretch of holes in golf. And that's you can say that without a doubt. Outside of Augusta, there's no course that American golf fans, and I almost worldwide golf fans, know better, outside of the course they play all the time, than TPC Sawgrass. And that's really important, because I think that for the casual viewer, knowing what's coming up next and having that drama at the end with 16, 17, 18 is a really big deal. And I think that plays a huge into the players' hands as becoming a major over time. And I think that is a big factor with it. I think where I would love to see the tour kind of go is a little bit away from mimicking Augusta National. They've got the players' music, which the Masters has the Masters music. They've got Champions Locker Room they debuted this year, which is a complete ripoff of what Augusta National does. And they have you can tell that they've really tried to go to that pristine conditioning, that uber green look that Augusta National does really well. And it's time for them to take a look in the mirror and say, we aren't going to copy what another major does. Let's just do what we want to do. And I think like the money is a good example of them being a leader and doing something that other majors aren't doing, and I think that in a way it's really good because they're recognizing the growth of their championship and allocating more money back to the players. Whereas Augusta keeps growing, but if the players wasn't pushing, they're kind of pushing in the direction of more money. And if they weren't pushing more that way, these other majors might just keep taking the money back to themselves.
That's a good point. I could ask you 50 questions about a bunch of other things, but I'm not going to keep you guys. I think one of the ways you can weight whether or not an event is a major or not is how many times people can hear the both of you in a given week ahead of an event. I can listen to you 5 days a week if we're going up to US Open or the Masters, for heaven's sakes. So how many times can the folks listen to the Shotgun Start podcast getting up through the players? Is this going to be every single day? Am I going to get up there? Or is this just going to be a run of the mill, 3 times a week regular event time?
Hey, we don't do this for local news, the Masters or the US Open. So, I mean, this is an extra podcast in and of itself, right? I mean, so maybe that's a strike or a mark in the favor of it being a major championship. Wouldn't you think? I don't know. I think our plan is to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday. But, if the PGA Tour wants to chip us off a piece of that 20 million, maybe we could reconsider it. I don't know. I don't think we're for sale, but hey, we can amplify it. We can just be bought and sold. No, I'm kidding. But I think we'll be doing 3 days a week.
Well, yeah. I don't know who wants to tell us, but tell the folks how they do. I mean, I know the golf diehards know, but for my good general news loving audience, how do they find you guys? Because you have truly, and it's sincerely, one of my favorite podcasts is the Shotgun Start. So how do we hear it?
Well, I think you can go to wherever you get your podcasts. If you don't know where to get podcasts, if you have an Apple phone or an Android, I think there's a podcast app on it. You don't have to go anywhere. It's installed on your phone already. You go there, you click that, and then you search the Shotgun Start. For people that aren't aware of what podcasts are, they are like radio shows, except, when you stop your car, the podcast stops. And when you start your car, it turns back on. So like if you got to stop for dry cleaning, it's not that conundrum of like, do I wait till the end of the segment and jump out?
Still getting dry cleaning? I bet someone like Lou, who's out in the public, does dry cleaning stops. I haven't done dry cleaning.
My dad still gets dry cleaning. He doesn't know how to listen to podcasts. He still gets his dry cleaning. Still listens to talk radio on the radio. He still sits in his car for 10 minutes waiting for the segment to end to get out to get his dry cleaning. But anyway,
the dry cleaning thing. Shotgun Start. The dry cleaning thing feels like a shot. But I tell you what, I will not apologize for using a nice medium to sometimes heavy starch in my shirts.
Sure.
I just won't apologize for that. It's crisp.
Hey,
you're looking good. You shouldn't apologize about looking good.
Hey, Lou, I got to ask you an on the ground question as the local news man plugged in.
Please.
Have you ever seen Billy Horschel riding around in a golf cart, ringing his bell around town, making proclamations? Is that a thing that happens down there in the Ponte Vedra Beach area? Just
town crier.
Ring a bell.
100%. And whenever city council comes out with a new, piece of legislation, the only way we know about it is if Billy Horschel comes out and reads us the rules. We got a new penny-and-a-half gas tax. Billy O let us know about it. Right.
I just want to know more about how that works. If he has a golf cart and a bell, and
it's partly ceremonial, but it's also recognized. We adhere to the rules, and he's a good gator, and I am not. Like I'm a Gamecock. I went to University of South Carolina. I don't dive into the stuff. But man, I smirk at Billy Ho talk. Truly, like I follow him around in practice rounds, and I do it simply because I want to watch the gesticulation. I want to watch the jives, the moves. It's always peculiar. But if you say something like that, people will get pissed off. So you gotta share adoration for Billy.
Oh yeah.
Maybe next year we could do a collaboration where we do a little segment on Billy Ho showing us around Jacksonville.
That's a good idea.
On First Coast News.
Right? Yeah, 100% would do it. Pit play, baby. You could get, that's got to move you. If you end up in the analytics of First Coast News, your Q score has got to
That's true.
really bounce. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I can't wait to hear your content. And I'll be listening for your pick. I'm not going to ask for picks because I know you're going to do that on your podcast. So I appreciate your time, and we will we'll be in touch. Okay.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lou.
Yeah. Take care.
This was an honor and truly a pleasure.
Yeah.
They say never meet your heroes, but I'm glad I did.